City of Washington, and we're competing in the Washington State Ethics Bowl. It's the first time this has been held.
The preparation for this has been long and thorough.
13 schools and 22 teams gathered here today to discuss various ethical issues in front of judges.
We're talking about a situation where, as you rightly pointed out, the issue wouldn't even have arisen except for the fact that there was a special law.
It's not a debate. It's really much more about trying to get to a better understanding about the issue, and the teams are judged to the extent to which they contribute to that better understanding.
They need to read a piece of information and analyze it, pick it apart, formulate their position, and then turn around and be able to explain it and defend it. Those aren't just philosophy skills, those are life skills. These are the kinds of experiences that 5, 10, 20 years down the road, these kids are going to look back and say, that's when I started to get good at this, and it has ended up being something really valuable and really important to me.
Vlada argues that we cannot expect the most talented and driven people to work for nonprofits when they could make so much more working in the private sector. Furthermore, those causes and charities that are not able to recruit the top talent will inevitably suffer. So you'll now have 2 minutes to confer.
The nonprofit sector is a place where people can create better good in the environment and the world around them. And that's the core value of this. The important way that that's going to happen in this case is by attracting a capable executive that can in fact make that the most possible.
Is that ethical for them to take this money when people didn't have the choice to give it to that executive?
Are these sort of incentives going to work in the same way with those people? I mean, these are presumably people who are not primarily aiming in life to make as much money as possible.
Why don't you elaborate on whether or not there should be, as a matter of policy, consideration given to whether there's a subsidy or not? So say there's a not-for-profit board, and they make a conscious decision to actually refuse governmental subsidies in order to be able to reward their executive more. Where does that fit in your framework?
I guess we'd answer that by saying, potentially if this got enough support, what we're supporting is like an ethical thing here, that the CEO shouldn't take more than X percent. We're not economists. We're not qualified to determine the actual percent there. Not yet. Fair enough.
It was a nice pulling together of high school teachers and students, undergraduate and graduate students, faculty, lawyers, judges. Really felt like it brought together a wide range of people.
You stated that you thought it was ethical for a government employee to reveal this sort of information, but you did really address something that's stated in the case here, is that Snowden could have made his revelations in private to congressional representations and gone through and tried to eliminate this practice in a more legal way.
Just completely shifting everything around could have serious repercussions that we believe outweigh the concerns about not growing up in her Cherokee culture, which is, obviously very important.
But it might be the responsibility of the UN and NATO to do this, but not the US, because UN and NATO, well, not necessarily NATO, but they're a global universal congregation of countries.
The state subsidies for nonprofits would really be a stance that would either make or break a politician's election.
For me to see the value to them that comes both from all the preparation work that has to get done for an event like this, and also being in the event itself, is enormous, and stretches certainly way beyond the bounds of just its own little niche of philosophy or niche of ethics.
Take a deep breath, let the judges tally up their scores. I'll collect the scratch paper.
Our expectations for this day have been totally exceeded, so we so appreciate all the hard work and incredible bravery of the students coming up and doing these rounds.
We had a great time. It was really fun.
They were poised and thoughtful and serious, and it was just very inspiring.